is the fusion factor.
Hello, my name is Justin Oldham, and I am the author of Crisis at the Kodiak Starport. This is my follow-on project to the anthology Tales from the Kodiak Starport. For those of you who don't know, the Kodiak Starport per se is actually a real-world location. It is actually the Alaska Aerospace Development Corporation, located at the Kodiak launch site. You can look that up on the internet. That's Kodiak Island, by the way. And they like to call it a spaceport, but to disambiguate things, I've tried to go for the starport feel because it has more of a classic science fiction reference to it. As a kid who grew up during the space race between the United States and the Soviet Union, I have seen just about everything from the moon landing all the way to the International Space Station, Space Shuttle, Skylab, and all of the good and bad in between. So it made perfectly good sense to me when I reached the right point in my life to write science fiction, to take a stab at something like a starport location, because there's all kinds of things going on there. You've got spaceships and rockets taking off and landing, and the various trials and tribulations of all the people who work there. Now, like many people of my generation, all the way back in the summer of 1977, the very first Star Wars movie and the depiction of Mos Eisley Starport certainly made an impression on me. So there I was in the late fall, early winter of 1995-96, and Alaska Governor Tony Knowles is on the radio announcing the start and launch of the Alaska Aerospace Development Corporation there on Kodiak Island. I happened to be working at the time, and I had an earbud in, and I had the local AM radio station going. I was listening to his address, and as he was describing what they hoped to do in the future, I saw what would be the anthology and this novel that follows. And if you like this, there is actually a sequel to this. It's called Showdown at the Kodiak Starport, and it features more of the same. So you've got pilots, astronauts, military contractors, and aerospace engineers. And I know what you're thinking. Maybe aerospace engineers don't get a lot of credit for being tough guys, but trust me, it can happen. Now, if that's not enough for you, then let me tease it a little bit by telling you that there's an orbiting railgun up there in space that shoots a very large piece of metal down at the ground, and a Chinese aircraft carrier, and you can put those two together and figure out what happens, or you can read the book. In the meantime, please just let me say that I think that Alaska makes an outstanding environment for these kind of themes in science fiction in general. Yes, we've got a lot of wide open spaces, and yes, the economy's still developing, and there are some things that the folks in the lower 48 have that we don't. But here in 1997, let's time travel. Let's go to 2017 as I make this recording. And I just want to say all this for future scholars and historians that find this artifact on the internet. As we sit here in 2017 looking at the Alaskan future, yes, I can see a lot of big technology companies moving here. And as we get further and further into missile defense, yes, China, I'm looking at you, the simple fact of the matter is, where else are they going to build it? We have enough space up here to put half the continental United States, if it should come to that. I mean, hey, I know they'd be good neighbors and all, but you know they'd be loud after dark. But in the end, I would just like to tell you one very important thing about Crisis at the Kodiak Starport. This is more than military science fiction space adventure. It is a look at the future. There are places in this novel, you can look them up on Google Earth and see them for yourself, and they represent what I think a lot of Alaska becomes in the next 100 years. So, if you enjoy this kind of thing, please feel free to have a look at this novel, Crisis at the Kodiak Starport.
You've been listening to The Fusion Factor, brought to you by Shadow Fusion Books. Find us online at shadowfusionbooks.com.